So winging this. Like, I'm not really this drink. Oh, look. Really?
Yeah. I forgot time too. Okay,
Should we turn this?
Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, I heard a good afternoon. I'm Dave Davies, Director of the British Studies Program, and we're not going to keep you for a real long time today, but we're so incredibly excited to have you here. There will be about 155 or 160 of you all in London all at once this summer for the 40th anniversary of the running of the British Studies Program. Do you realize that you leave in exactly 8 weeks? Let's applaud. I was expecting more applause than that, but we'll come back to that. All right. So we have really 2 or 3. I need to be behind this, don't I?
Yeah, they might need to hear you.
We're webcasting this, so it has to go to the masses. We only have 2 or 3 purposes for today. Really, first and foremost, the idea is to give you the information you need to prepare as best as you possibly can for getting over to London. There will be other equally or perhaps more detailed orientation sessions once we get to the UK. So some of the stuff that really is going to be more appropriate for you to hear once you get on the ground in London, we're going to save the great details for once we do our program orientation the first day that you get to the United Kingdom. But we're going to gloss over some of the things. We'll spend a good bit of detail on the things that you need to be thinking about now in terms of getting to London and getting you moving along for your courses. The first thing I'll say before I introduce one of our guest speakers is to ask you to read the handbook. How many of you have read the handbook? Okay, good, good, good. It's a good start. But if you haven't read through the handbook, read through the handbook from start to finish. Not the way you skim a book when there's something on Netflix in the background, but really a close reading. There's a lot of really good information in there for you, and I'd really like you to take a good, strong look-see at that before you jump in. Before we get started on some of the information I'm going to need you to have about London, we have a couple of folks to talk to you about essentially rules of the road for going abroad as a representative of the University of Southern Mississippi. And I'm going to ask Dr. Rebecca Malley, who is the university's Title IX coordinator, to come forward and talk to you about your presence in London. Dr. Malley, if you stand here, you're going to be able to talk to the microphone for which this is broadcasting to the masses. Thank you. Dr. Malley, come on.
Give it up for Dr. Malley. So lucky to you guys, you get to go to the United Kingdom, and I just want you to know while you're over there, some of us will be here in Hattiesburg. Heat index will be about 114, but you have fun. And also, I am not Special FBI Agent Watson. Okay, I'm not the FBI. I am, though, here to remind you that when you travel abroad and as you're in the British Studies program, your rights and your responsibilities as students of USM go with you. So that means you have the same protections in that program as you do while you're here. Okay, so your code of student conduct is applicable there. Your rights and your responsibilities.
I'm
Hold on
sorry.
just a moment.
I don't know why it's playing there. It's not playing on mine. Okay.
That's mine. I need my cheat sheet.
Okay, just try not to listen to yourself on there.
Okay,
No.
all right. So I think I was talking about the code of student conduct, right? And it was riveting. You were with me the whole time. Okay, so that responsibility and that code goes with you, as do your rights as are outlined in the code of student conduct, the non-discrimination policy statement for the university, and the sexual misconduct statement. So I will make certain through Amy Linden that you get an email that gives you a link to those sites. And if you have at any time any concern about whether or not your rights are being violated as a student by another student, an instructor, an administrator, anyone affiliated with the university with that program, you need to get in touch with me. Okay, I'm pretty good about checking my email. If it's something where you need some assistance right then, track down Miss Linden. Will you be talking about that, Dave, about how to, okay. Okay, one caveat. The cultural mores of UK in some ways may be different. I don't know. I haven't been able to visit the United Kingdom since I was 16, and that was about, well, really, it was just like 4 years ago. So, but what I want to remind you of is that when we talk about your rights and your protections and your civil rights, etc., you're going to be interacting with people who aren't from Southern Miss. And in those situations where you interact with them and there is some kind of discomfort, maybe something is said or done that makes you uncomfortable about your national origin, your religious beliefs, sexual orientation, etc., all the protections you have through the university, you will want to talk to one of your administrators about that first. Okay, there may be some cultural differences that are just part of the learning process, or there may have been a crime occurred, in which case the good news is the FBI is here to talk to you. Okay, so let me just stop and see if there are any questions about that in general. Right, okay. Now, let me talk to you about alcohol. What is the legal drinking age there, Dr. Davies? 18, congratulations. All right, so certainly if you are of legal age in the UK to drink, you are not going to violate the university's policy if you choose to drink, okay? Even though you have to be 21 when you're back here in the States. Doesn't mean you should go wild, okay? So the same code of student conduct in terms of acting in a professional way, interacting with people appropriately, that expectation follows you too. Okay. What I want you to know specifically about that alcohol use policy is that, first of all, if you're of age, drink, if you wish, drink responsibly. Don't try to force anyone to join you if they choose not to drink. That's their right. And again, that's a privilege and a right you carry with you. But I also want you to know that I'm letting the instructors and the administrators know, and as a reminder, that they are not there to party with you. They are there to spend a lot of time with you and to instruct you and to give you the best possible program you can. Does not mean that we're saying don't be social with you as students. What I am advising them is to have a drink with you if you all end up at a pub, and that's what they choose to do. But if they decide to leave early, before you've gotten the night started, that's because they're exercising good judgment, all right? They're not there to party with you. They're there to socialize with you and learn with you. So I want to let you know that's what we're telling them, so you won't get your feelings hurt, or you won't think, this professor doesn't like this group. No, they're doing what they need to do, okay? Because part of what they've got to be aware of is they're always the person in charge the whole time they're over there, okay? Any questions about alcohol use then? So I want to let you know that's what we're telling them. So you want okay, so bottom line takeaway, you have any concern or discomfort about anything and you don't know if it falls in the purview of my office or not, doesn't matter. Contact Amy Linden and she can get me in touch with you. I hope you have a good trip. I like getting postcards. I'm the only Title IX coordinator on campus. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Dr. Malley. The purpose of all of this is to make certain that you are absolutely as safe as you can possibly be when you're in the UK. Apologies that we'll be doing some things that sound like we're throwing out a lot of rules at you, but the fact of the matter is we really, really want to make sure that you're safe in London. My goal, I love the UK and I love this program, but my goal every single year is to get off the plane in New Orleans when we return from British Studies with the exact same number of students we got on the plane with a month earlier. So your safety is absolutely the most important thing to us. So if it seems like we're throwing a lot of do's and don'ts at you, that's the bottom line, and that's what our concern is. Next, we have a special guest. I just told him that I was really pleased because I wanted to be able to say that now I know an FBI agent, which is just great. So I'm going to ask Special Agent Guy Walton of the Jackson Division of the FBI to come forward and talk to you a little bit about some things you would need to understand about studying abroad. Let's give it up for the FBI, shall we?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Guy Nestor. Guy Walton. I go by Guy. I'm going to keep this to hopefully 15 minutes. And because I grew up in Mobile, Alabama, and I have a little bit of Southern Baptist preacher in me, and I'm going to try to keep it short. That's not a good sign when I take my jacket off. I'm just hot, guys. I hail from Mobile. I have a degree in solid state physics, electrical engineering, a master in electrical engineering, and I just completed a master in international relations for my international relations. Oh, that's so cool. But the beauty about it is, what you're about to embark on is going to put you ahead of your peers. It's going to make you a global student. Everyone in you understands what globalization is. And you're part of that globalization. How many of you have Facebook? How many have Twitter? Snapchat? Give it up. Because on your Facebook account, you got your dog, your cat, your sister, your brother, your fraternity, your accountants in here, and the alphas in here. Got one alpha, delta, 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 zeta, delta.
Okay. We're still working with yeah. Also, can you go grab the link to the other orientation? And you can say you can see our speakers on this video. So that might be a good idea. Hello. Crazy.
So should I be, because I'm not hearing anything, I'm not even hearing whistling sounds. Should
Okay.
I be whistling?
No, you're not anymore because I took it off the low thing. Okay.
Okay. So you should be seeing this again. Right?
I think it's coming.
Okay.
Let's see.
Now. So you don't. Hello?
But like all of it's slow, so like it's behind where you are.
Mhm. Hello?
Wait, she says
Okay, start back now.
They're going to build a relationship. And those relationships are why you are going. You are to build those relationships with your international business career. You are to build those relationships if you're going to go teach. You are to build those relationships. But once you build those relationships, be cognizant. My wife would be so proud of me because I said that. You are targeted because of your blue passport. Very specific. Why I am here and what I do for a living, I chase spies. I do cyber crimes and I chase spies. Espionage. Cases that I work. Wen-Ho Lee. Wen-Ho Lee gave all of our secrets to the Chinese, all our nuclear secrets. We had to rebuild it. Ed Snowden. The case is still ongoing. But I participated in that before I left Washington, D.C. Sad state of affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, I worked so many cases that are taken around the world, they called me in headquarters the Black James Bond. What? Ding. So these are the types of things that you're watching for. But as you carry that blue passport, how many of you plan on working for the government one day? Nobody. It's not a bad thing, it's a pretty good thing. I'm getting ready to retire at 50. I'm going to teach calculus and difference equation at the college level. Can you imagine me, ADD, teaching calculus? Because you're going to go work government service, you're going to get a security clearance. Because Ed Snowden, the security clearance prior to Ed Snowden's gets was $40,000. After it's $80,000. Because not only are they going to talk to her high school teacher, they're going to talk to her junior high teacher and her elementary teacher. Not only are they going to talk to your landlord, they're going to talk to the maintenance guy and find two of your neighbors that have moved off and moved across the world. Because we need to know who you are coming into the government system. Who is our primary foreign target in the U.S. for espionage, intelligence, technology? Who's our primary competitor? Come on, take a guess. China. But for you guys, you have to be worried about terrorism in London. London has an issue with this immigration policy because they have a very diverse, cosmopolitan country now. They have, I apologize, I forgot the percentage, but they have a buttload of people from Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Saudi Arabia, India, all of Muslim faith, who goes against the Christian faith and goes against the Catholic faith, even in Ireland. The bomb of the metro, the underground. The Brits do it better than we do, the intelligence side. But they don't do the law enforcement better than we do. We can put hands on you because our law says that if you say you want to blow up a building and you get the material, you violated our law. We're going to hook you up. The British law says you have to be at the building, get ready to push the button. That's too late. So the same thing you hear when you go to DC, you see something, say something, doubly so there. But the beauty part about Britain, their intelligence is second to none, and we're the none. What we do, we never know. Because our job in FBI is not to be in the newspaper. Did you hear about the bombing down in Gulfport? Did you hear that report was about to blow up? Good. That's how we must operate. So as you travel, you're going to get into Heathrow. You go into Heathrow. Anyone has ever been to Heathrow Airport? How big is it? How busy is it? It makes Atlanta looks like it's in a slow pace. You're going to see a whole different set of people. And they all speak English. And they're all going to be your friend. Once again, a couple things I want you to take away from it. The biggest threat is going to be terrorism. That's on a strategic level, a country level. Where you're going to be at, if you're going to be on a campus, I guarantee you the universities and the school system where you're going, what school are you going to be at?
University of London, King's College.
You got some bad in the heart, but not too close, but in the heart, having a great time. You're in one of the safest part of London, so you don't have to worry too much. But if you see something on the hair on the back of your neck stand up, let your advisors know, let your instructors know. 2, 3 letters I want you to remember. When you get in country, if all else fail, RSO, Regional Security Officer in the industry. Okay? The Regional Security Officer is that senior guy who is responsible for your safety. If you get in the pub and you drink too much beer, and you embarrass the University of Southern Mississippi, you're going to be dealt with when you get back here. But if you get arrested, the vets are going to deal with you. And when they put you in lockup, they don't segregate the drunks from the thieves or murderers. They put you all there in one block. Okay? And if it's on the weekend, the judges and the magistrate and the constables do not come in until Tuesday. It's a long time to sober up from Friday to Tuesday. So, if you are legal drinking, take someone with you. Make sure that person say, you're responsible if I do something stupid, if I have too much. Have an emergency flashword, like me and my roommate said. My roommate, he was 6'3", Creole, mulatto, good-looking brother, and girls used to be falling all over. He used to have a word that said, jambalaya. That meant, come get it. He used to go get it. And then when I thought he should have been saying jambalaya, I still went and got it. To this day, we're still friends. And he has not called and said jambalaya since he got married 30 years ago. So, understand, you have to be in a team. Minimum 2, 4 would be nice. I don't think we'll have that problem because most of you are from a southern state, anywhere from a northern state. When I say northern, I mean above Virginia. Yes, ma'am. She's from Chicago. I was worried about you. In Chicago, most of the people in Chicago came from the city during the migration, correct? The last thing I have to tell you is you are a target. You are wonderfully made and you are blessed to be an American. The freedoms that you have here and the freedoms that they have even in London are different. They're close, but they're not the same. And you are a visitor in that country. Remember, it matters that your mom or your dad or your aunt, your grandmother, or even your professor here is getting you. Keep it. And if you fall into any trouble, contact your advisor, the teachers, or the RSO, or the FBI. We have 15 guys there. I'm trying to get there. Almost. Not yet. 400 times. Now, anything else in questions? Comment? Anyone? Mr. Mudge. What's your major?
Business administration.
Business administration. You're going to run the Human Resource side of Lockheed Martin in 15 years. You're going to have a security contract. And you're going to have a clearance. And you're going to be managing engineers, geeks like me who run their mouths a lot.
Ideally.
But you made a friend in your travel to London because you caught the train to Paris. And then you went to Berlin and you met Gustav. Gustav is your European friend. We went back and forth 5 and 10 years. Gustav is a job. Great engineer, make 4 or 5 packs. All of a sudden, Gustav wants you to get down the list of engineers that are working on the new space shuttle. And he wants to be in the project. You've been friends for 15 years. You have months. You think that's too far-fetched? Please go to FBI.gov and click on the movie in counterintelligence. It's a movie, Game of Pawns. We had a young man who was one of the Mandarin who spoke Cantonese. He got recruited by the PRC. They recruited him to join the CIA. Why would you think that that would be smart? You had a foreign country taking go for the CIA. After he took the photograph, he got on the plane, he got nervous, and he tried to leave the country. And on the plane, he said, hook him up. He served 5 years in the penitentiary. He's getting out this July. We made a movie about him to train you not to be like him. He received $40,000 to join the CIA. And they weren't going to, would have gotten in because his language skills were so good, he probably could have gotten in if he could have passed the polygraph. His language skills are really what CIA need, FBI, DEA, all the 3-letter agencies need. So if he goes in, they're going to let him stay dormant for 15, 20 years. And then they're going to show pictures of him taking money from the IO, intelligence officer, and say, hey, listen, we need access to this. Or we're going to report you to the CIA and you're going to go to jail. Game of Pawns. Or just do it. I'm on 15 minutes.
Right there.
Any questions? Comments? Gary, have a great time. Don't be a dorm rat. Get out. Go see London. Go to Ireland. You be impressed. Apply to Queen's College for your master's degree now. And you will be wonderfully surprised. I'll stick around till the class is over, answer your questions offline. But thank you.
Thank you, Agent Walton. We really appreciate that, and we'll be reiterating some of those points as we go through the presentation. We have a good bit of logistical stuff that we need you to be thinking about as you get ready to go to London. I'm going to let our wonderful colleague, Jessica Thompson, whom you will want to get to know sooner rather than later, as she will not only be working with you today, but she'll be working in the office that we will have staffed when we get to King's College once we get to London. Jessica?
Thank you. Hey guys, y'all feeling all right? Y'all excited? Good. Great. So we just need to get some maintenance taken care of right now. First off, please be sure you complete your post-acceptance application. How many of you have completed that? Okay, we need a few more hands up. So I know most of y'all are probably waiting on those passports to come in. Hopefully you've already applied for a passport and it's on its way in the mail, right? Yes? Okay, so please take care of that as soon as possible. And then of course, Once you get that passport in and finish that post-acceptance application, we're going to need a copy of that passport. That's very important to have. You're also going to want to make a copy for yourself, okay? Because that's what you're going to want to have on you when you're out and about, unless it's required for some excursion. You want to leave your passport safe back in the dorm. Also, if you haven't taken care of your financial aid situation with us, we know everybody's got a special case. As long as you've communicated with us, then we should be good on that as well. So required documents, of course, your passport. Do not leave that at home the day you go to the plane, because you will not be able to get on the plane without it. That's very important. Make sure you have it in your carry-on bag or your purse. Do not put it in your checked bag. That will just cause so many problems. As well, you will be receiving an acceptance letter, and you're going to have this on you as well when you're going through customs and everything. And this is really just in case they start asking you some questions. You want to kind of fill in on that?
Yeah, typically you all are going to London on a tourist visa. So even though you are college students, make it plain that you're going on a study program with an American university. You're not showing up to go to a British school, you're going to an American university. Say you'll be taking classes through your American university at King's College. For 99 out of 100 of you, you'll skate right through. If they have any questions, you'll swoop out this letter explaining your program to the immigration officer. Again, it's about 1 in 100 who get a series of other questions to ask exactly what's going on. You'll also need your insurance card. Let's see, now will we be giving them?
We're going to give this to them when we get there.
When you get there.
If you guys are looking for it, we'll get it when we're actually in London.
And what the insurance card will do is give you insurance while you're in the UK and while you're traveling. If you break your foot and we have to ship you home, it did happen last year, then we'll have the ability to make that happen. Insurance is typically not that much of a problem in the UK. So if you're in the UK when you break your foot, don't break your foot. If you're in the UK when you break your foot, you're going to be able to go into the hospital, no problem. But this insurance will be a very nice backup for you, and it will also help you when you travel to other countries. Okay, we will have a detailed discussion of our emergency plan once we get in the UK. For this point, I'd want you to know this. We will have a plan, and it's essentially a plan for you to get in touch with us in the office, even before you call Mama and Daddy. You will get in touch with us in the office to check in. Our goal will be to account for everyone if there's some sort of national emergency. And by that I mean some sort of bombing or any kind of terrorist action or anything like that. We were in London during the attacks of 2005. We have experience in this. The plan worked perfectly. We had everybody accounted for who was already in London and pretty much followed through with all of that. We'll talk about this on the ground once we get to London. What you would want to do is say to your folks, these folks have told us, you know, there's a very, very small chance of anything happening while we are there. But you'd want to be able to reassure your folks that we've thought about these things and we will have an emergency plan once we get there, okay? Public safety. And I really want to just echo everything that our special agent and the FBI said. All of you, I would want you to travel at least in pairs after dark, particularly for you young ladies, and I'd want you to keep your dorm locked. Now that's gonna be easy. All of you will have a physical key, the old-fashioned key like we all used to carry around for your dorm room, and you'll have a swipe card that will get you through several doors, getting you in to the dorm. We'll explain all of this once we get to London. For now, what you'd need to know is you will have a door that locks, a hallway that locks, and 2 or 3 card entries that you have to go into to get in and out of the dorm in case you want to assure your folks that you will be safe while you're there. You'll be in constant touch with your teachers for the program that you're actually taking. And Jessica and I and 2 other people will be in the office downstairs, and we'll have announced office hours every single day. And we're talking about a lot of office hours, 8 to 2 every day and something like 4 to 6 at night for you to be able to get your needs attended to. So assure your folks that in point of fact, you will have folks looking out after you. To repeat, if you haven't read your handbook, please go back and go through that before you leave. I'm amazed at the folks who have questions that could have been answered in the handbook 2 weeks into the program, but y'all aren't going to be that way, I know.
Okay, so culture shock. We just want to give you an overview. With you going to the UK, we all speak the same language, so it's not too bad. But whereas when you may be going to Paris to visit there, it might be a little different. We just want you to know that culture shock is a real thing, and there's 4 stages to it. And it goes honeymoon, hostility, humor, and then home. And there's more details about this in your handbook. And we just want you to know this is a real thing. If you're in that hostility stage and you're feeling down and feel like you can't adjust, please reach out to somebody who's on site. One of the staff members, the faculty, that's the way you get through it, is talking with the people that you're there with. Because it is a very real thing, and everybody goes through culture shock a little bit differently. So just be aware of this, and if you have more questions about that, let us know. And again, your handbook has more details in there.
And keep in mind, your biggest danger for the culture shock is going to be once you first get there, when you are going to be very, very tired and maybe a little cranky. So just kind of be prepared for that. Your first couple of days, you're going to have a little bit of transition period. If you think of anything big you've ever done in your life, a move, a new job, whatever, you just sort of accounted for there being a transition time. And you want to have that little bit of knowledge that you know that's coming once you get to the UK. We will talk a lot about this in the detailed orientation, but we want you all to be folks who fit in. We are all guests in the United Kingdom, and there is what is considered to be typical ugly American behavior. We talk about this in the handbook, and I have to tell you, it's true. Foreigners or internationals tend to see Americans as being very loud, very pushy, and they think we drink too much. And the drinking too much particularly applies to college-age students. You know, I'm most concerned about you just being loud and obnoxious. Not you in this group, because I can already tell. What a great group of folks. But essentially, if there's 4 or 5 of you and you're on the tube and you're going somewhere, you want to use, as a friend of mine says, your inside voice. The Brits are even in public, they are very, very quiet. You can be in Paddington Station, Waterloo Station, any station at rush hour, and you're walking through and there's hundreds of people around. Most of the sound you hear is your feet brushing along the pavement. So you'll want to kind of keep it down a notch. We in America, we don't do that. You go into Applebee's and you argue with your friends, you don't worry about using your inside voice. There it's considered rude, whereas here it not necessarily is. In terms of drinking, I want y'all to go and have a great time. But it makes no sense to spend the amount of money that you're doing and spend it in the bars. That's your own choice. Y'all are grown-ups. You get to make your own decisions. Where we're most concerned is that you be safe. And as Ken Panton, who directed the British Studies program for 7 or 8 years, used to say, how did he put it? Britons have beer, Americans have chemical warfare. He would say they have real beer with real alcohol content, and often that's a transition for we Americans in London. We'll talk a good bit more about that. The concern is not that we want to make you all into teetotalers, but the concern is to keep you safe. And typically, if there's an issue with a student getting hurt or getting into trouble, 99 times out of 100, alcohol is involved. Want to talk about money?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we know money is always the big question, right? So the currency you'll really be using is the pound sterling that's in the UK. Now, if you travel outside the UK into like France or Germany or something like that, you're going to be using the euro. And you can look up those exchange rates if you'd like online. As well, we really suggest that you create yourself a budget, because it's really easy to, just blow all your money really quickly, and then you've got 3 weeks left, and you're like, how am I going to eat? So be sure to kind of set yourself a budget so you know what you need to spend on and when you need to conserve and whatnot. Also, it's a really good idea to have some cash on you before we get there. And we say about $150 or so. You can go by your local bank here, a credit union, and go ahead and exchange that money. Take dollars and get some pound sterling. That way you have it when we get off the plane. You don't have to worry about that when we get there. Debit cards and credit cards, be sure you talk to your bank or your credit card company and let them know that you're leaving the country, where you're going to be, and for how long. Because if not, you're going to get over there and the card's not going to work. They're going to shut it off for security reasons. So be sure to take care of that. Also be aware of foreign transaction fees, as well as ATM transaction fees. Those are things that credit cards may charge you, debit cards may charge you. So be aware of that and account it for your budget. Capital One's a really great one that doesn't have foreign transaction fees. Whereas Discover is the same, but they're not accepted as widely. So do your research, find out what's best for you and what will work. It's also great if you can get a card that has a chip and PIN. So if you want to look into that, do that as well. Traveler's checks, yes, they're fading out. They're not the cool kids thing to do these days. However, if you want, it's a really great emergency backup plan just to have those with you. You can keep them in your dorm room, and that way, if your credit card gets eaten or stolen or something crazy happens, your purse gets lost, you never know, things happen, you have some money back home. And as well, like we say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You will have your own dorm room, so have a safe place in there. Leave a little bit of cash in your dorm. Leave a card behind. Only take a little bit out with you because there are pickpockets. You might accidentally leave it on the tube. You don't want to lose everything in one go. So be sure to kind of split up your money and spendings.
How many of you are wearing a blue shirt? Raise your hands. Raise them a little higher. Okay, about the number of people who raise their hands will still not be able to use their credit cards or debit cards, even though they called their bank. The main reason I want you to have cash is so that you have a backup. You can easily go change that cash in a heartbeat. If your order to your bank to let you use your credit or debit card abroad didn't go through. We deal with dozens of students the first 2 days who've had that very thing happen to them. Capital One, I'm not a shill for Capital One, but you have time now to get a credit card if you choose that will not have any transaction fees, and that's going to be really handy to you. For packing and luggage, I'll start on this, but I'll let Jessica weigh in. All of us, I've been going to British Studies since 1999. I still come back with clothes that barely made it out of my suitcase. One rule of thumb that I've heard, I'd be interested in some of the faculty if they have anything to chime in here, pack your bags, take out half of it, then take out another half of it. Let's see, I think we recommend what, 8 or 9 outfits?
Yeah,
You go to the next one, go to the
Yeah,
next one. I'll let you talk about this. We have washing machines, Pete. So you're going to be able to wash stuff. You're going to be traveling a lot. So the less you take, the less you have to tote from here to there. Jessica?
Yeah, it's really, I can't stress enough, please pack light. You're just going to love yourself so much more when you get there. Great thing, we're going to be in London, and even though it's July, it's not hot there like it is here. We will have some, warm spells, but bring things that you can dress in layers. Kind of like I have on today, like I'm wearing this, but I can take this off if I get hot, have it on if I'm kind of cool or something like that. As well, bring comfortable shoes. Leave the stilettos at home. You don't need them. Your feet, you're going to walk so much. You have no idea. Bring comfortable shoes. When I went, the shoes I took went in the trash can because I walked so much that they were no good anymore. So please, that's number one thing. In your dorms, you do have towels provided for you, but no washcloth. So if you're one of those people that like a washcloth or loofah or something, bring that with you. As well, have at least one dressy outfit. We will have a nice little welcome reception. Unless your professor says, like I know the business course and some other courses, they need to dress nice for their class meets and that, and your professor will tell you that. So just be aware of those things as well when you pack. Rain jacket, umbrella. London is a little bipolar when it comes to their weather. One minute it'll be sunny, next minute it'll be sprinkling, and then it's cold, then it's hot. So it's really great to have a good rain jacket with you. Shower shoes, you may want to have those as well, especially you will have your own bathroom and shower at the dorms, but if you start traveling, you're going to stay in hostels and hotels and stuff, you're probably going to want some shower shoes. Again, have a coat. It doesn't have to be a real big, bulky one, but I would suggest to bring one with you because the nights will be cool. And again, minimal jewelry. Don't bring something that's valuable to you and lose it and then it's gone. Nothing too flashy. Just keep it simple.
I reiterate, no washcloths. It's really weird. And in many hotels on the continent, no washcloths. So go to Dollar General, get some washcloths, put them in there. You can leave them over there unless you have this thing for saving washcloths. Okay, I had a question over here.
Is this information in the handbook or will this be available online?
Yes, it's going to be available online, and it also is available in the handbook. So we're sort of hitting you over the head with some of the most important stuff. Good question. Okay, electrical outlets. In the UK, they have a different electrical system. I don't think you're going to be bringing anything electrical except probably your cell phone and maybe your computer. Typically, those are dual voltage, and you will need not a converter, which is the little gizmo that changes the current from one to another, but you'll just need the little adapter that will allow you to plug in your US plug into a UK or continental receptacle. Tuesday Morning, TJ Maxx, places like that are great places to pick up those things, and you can get them for $5 or $6. You go to the wrong place, you'll pay 15 or 20. Take a couple. Invariably, there's someone who just can't charge their iPhone because they forgot to bring one, and they're so kind of at a premium. But you can pick them up for a song here. They're a little pricey if you look in the shops around where we are. Again, your laptop and your phones are already dual voltage. If you're like me and you have to take your little DVD player, I know that makes me seem like a child of the 50s, but it is dual voltage. Just check on the little plug and see if it says here at the bottom, input 100 to 240 volts. Questions about that? Ladies, don't take hair dryers. Buy them over there. Even if you have a converter, if you plug it in, it will make a really pleasing poofing sound as it explodes, and then we'll have to, the smoke alarms will go off, and it'll be a really big deal. But somebody always tries, and somebody always blows up their stuff. It blows up really good. Okay, medicine, Jessica.
Yeah, so if some of you need to bring some medication with you, be sure just to pack that prescription in its original container with the correct amount. Don't bring too much, don't bring too little. You may even want to get a written statement from your doctor saying that you're taking this under doctor's care and that you do need it to travel. Yeah, and also, over-the-counter medication, if you're one of those people that's like, oh, I need Benadryl or I need this or whatever, the medicines are kind of different there, so you might want to bring those with you. If not, there are some equivalents of that, but that's something we just suggest if you're one of those people that have to have your particular kind of.
And if you really like the Imodium brand, it's okay to bring it. But there's a Boots right around the corner. You're going to be able to buy anything you need that you would buy at a Walgreens or CVS over there. Carry on. Okay, here's the deal. You get one checked bag, right, and one carry-on and one personal item. So you can have your little suitcase as a carry-on, and then your personal item could be a really big purse, or it could be a pretty sizable bag. They will not beat you about the head and shoulders if your personal item is large, but they will fuss at you if you have 3 items and you try to get on the plane. So one big suitcase with a limit of 50 pounds to check, one carry-on to carry on, and then a personal item that you can put everything else in. Me, I'm getting a little side bag for my personal item that will kind of complement things. Remember, I have my DVD player. So keep that in mind. If you really can't get by without packing another suitcase that you check, you will pay anywhere up to $100 to check that rascal. Now, I wish I could fuss at y'all, but I can't. I forgot this last year. I mean, I've only been doing this 20 years. I forgot it last year and ended up paying $100 to take another suitcase over. So be real careful when you do that. It's another reason to pack light. Departure day. You're going to get to the airport 2 or 3 hours early. Do not get there any later than 2.5 hours early. Now, I know that seems incredible, but we are a huge group checking in at most airports. Some airports require 3, and I'm just going to go for 3 just to be on the safe side. You do not want to be that person who misses their flight. You do not want to be that person who misses their flight. Remember, have your passport in your hot little hand or in your carry-on. Do not, repeat, do not check it in your luggage. It will cause you all kinds of hassles. But invariably, we'll see a British Studies students with their underpants all over the Louis Armstrong Airport trying to find their passport as we get ready to go over there. Dress comfortably for the flight. Don't wear your pajamas, but get as comfortable as you possibly can short of that, because it's a long time to be sitting there. Depending upon where you're flying from, you could be on that plane for up to 9 hours. So make it pretty comfortable. You probably do want to have something that has socks on. You probably do not want to be padding up and down the aisle in your bare feet. Your mama wouldn't like that. But other than that, you're probably good to go. Missed flight. You want to take this one?
Sure. So inevitably, somebody will miss a flight. It's just how it works. In your handbook, this information should be in there as well. But you'll need to call international programs, let us know that you missed your flight. If you booked your flight through us, we booked the flight through Magnolia Travel. So there's the phone number for Pat Alonso, who books all the flights there. So you can talk with her and try to get something figured out to get you a new flight. And then you can also go up to the airline's desk for whichever airline you have and talk to them and try to figure out, when's maybe the next flight. This is going to be a pain, so try not to do this. But if you do, here's some phone numbers for you to use to let everybody know.
And again, this is in your handbook.
Yes.
I doubt anybody in here is going to actually miss the flight. It's entirely possible you could miss your connection through absolutely no fault of your own. Your flight is delayed or whatever. Just make sure you have these numbers handy. That includes the address of where you're going to live in London and all of that. If your connection is delayed and you get there a day late, you're just going to have to hop in a taxi, give them our address, and come out. And you want to have that address handy, okay? So just sort of plan to miss a flight. You've all been traveled before where there's all kinds of last-minute snafus. I will be there with a funky British Studies shirt on and maybe a big hat. Probably not. But we will be there with big signs that say British Studies Program. You will be coming out of doors like those double doors there in the back, and then there will be a whole row of faculty there to greet you. We will be greeting something on the order of 12 flights that day, and then we will force march you all the way down to the coaches, teasing you for being so jet-lagged the entire time, and then you will take about an hour to get into town. Now, here's something to pay attention to. If your bags are lost, you go to baggage claim and your bags are not there, you're going to have to report it before you come see my smiling face. So don't come out and say, Dr. Davies, I lost my bag, because you're toast by then because you left the secure area. You go to the baggage area where it'll say that you report your luggage. If your luggage is lost, you're either orphaned with no clothes for a month, or they will show up with your suitcase the next day at the dorm. And it's always the latter, not the former. Just be sure to report it before you leave the secure area to come see my bright, shining face and folks like Jessica and the others who will be waiting to greet you. Any questions about any of that? Yes? You're getting your T-shirts at the end. No, we don't usually require that, but it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. If you would all wear hats with feathers, I think that would be I will look for the feathers. In terms of telling Mama and Pawpaw that when you'll call them, it'll be very easy to call folks as soon as you get back. As soon as you get there, typically you're going to get there early morning, and it's going to be 1 or 2 in the morning. Prepare them for that if they really need to hear from you. All righty. You want to talk about our first couple of days?
So the first day we get there, it will be, now no, you're going to leave on Thursday the 25th, but you won't get to London until the 26th. Yeah, that's how long it takes, right? So we'll get you on the coaches from the airport, and then we'll get you checked in. You'll get your key, you'll get your room number, you'll get all that done. And then afterwards, around 5 o'clock, we're going to do our orientation, kind of like we're doing now, but we're going to go really into detail about all those important things that you need to know. As well, afterwards, we're going to do faculty-led neighborhood tours, which we like to call our London Alive. And it's really just faculty will lead you around to different parts of the neighborhood, and you'll kind of pick what neighborhood you want to go see. And you'll just really get immersed into your new home. So that's going to be a lot of fun. You want to say something?
Yes, and then the next day you'll go on your first class meeting. You'll have an initial class when you get your syllabus and all that kind of stuff. Every single class is going to Parliament that first day. So what's going to happen is one day you're in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, chilling and deciding whether or not to go to Bops. The next day you're going to be in a 1800s building that is absolutely more beautiful than anything you've ever seen, for a really detailed tour of Parliament. Then later that day, we'll continue the London Alive, and you'll go with your faculty members or with a different faculty member. I'll take a group to Abbey Road. We'll walk with the Beatles Walk. Some others will go on a Central London tour, walking through all the things that you're most familiar with in Central London. Others will go on the Shakespeare tour. We're going where Shakespeare walked. There'll be maybe a dozen of these things. On Sunday morning, we'll all go to St. Paul's Cathedral. You haven't lived until you've gone to Sunday church in St. Paul's Cathedral, where they will have a boys' choir and a full orchestra. We get there early. We sit underneath the dome. They even acknowledge us from the pulpit. We'd like to welcome the group from the University of Southern Mississippi. It is way, way cool. So that's what you have to look forward to that first weekend. One logistical thing, and I want you to be thinking about this. We will warn you this when you get to the airport. You are going to be tired little bunnies when you get off that plane. But we want you to sleep. We want you to go to the dorm and have 1 hour of beauty rest and then to come back down. Sleep longer than that, and it's going to take your clock a little bit longer to get adjusted. Y'all are young. Y'all are vibrant. I'm old, near death. Y'all are going to be able to adjust to jet. You're laughing because it's true. Y'all are going to be able to adjust to jet lag very, very easily. But it's so much easier if you take just a little bit of a nap when you get there and try to stay up as long as you possibly can. We'll do Oyster. We will take you over to get what's called a tube pass. They call it the Oyster card. World is your oyster and all that stuff. And that will be your pass to get on the tube and on buses. We'll show you how to do that kind of stuff. You should know this schedule coming up for the entire month. Remember, we'll have what we call Weekend Explore, which are those trips to Dover and Canterbury and Stonehenge and Winchester. That will be that very first weekend, July 4th and July 5th. Yes, you will have American Independence Day in the UK, which is a really cool thing. They celebrate it too, but I think it's because they're celebrating that we left. There are some really cool celebrations around town where Americans gather. There's fireworks over the Thames. It's really, really cool. Are there spots
still left for those Weekend Explore trips? So if that's something you want to do, just come to the office and sign up for it. It's $50 each one. You can do both. You can do one or the other, or you don't have to do any of them.
And I would, if you are on the edge about whether to do that, go ahead and do it. We're not making any money on these things. We're just trying to get you to places that are cool to see that would be hard for you to see on your own. Stonehenge, I thought, big rocks. Do I really want to go to that? It knocked me out. And it's really, really hard to get there using buses or trains. So we have a coach that takes you directly there. The other trips are really cool. White Cliffs of Dover, Canterbury Cathedral, all of that. It's a real neat trip, and you have a lot of free time to see your way around. We have openings still for the mini break trip. Again, we're not making any money on these. We're just covering your costs. That we will leave on the afternoon of the 16th of July and come back on July 20th. That's the mini break weekend. So instead of going off to Greece or wherever, you'll just save your Paris trip to go off with us. There'll be a group. If everyone goes on the trips, it's limited to about 25. We will have museum passes, metro passes, everything that you need. A couple of dinners are included. I'm working on my podcast French right now. I can parlez-vous as best anybody from Arkansas can, and we will get you where you need to go. So sign up for that if you're interested. If you want to do something else and go someplace far afield on your mini break, more power to you. Social media.
Yes, so, okay. We all know we all love social media, right? It's like part of our world today. So we want to utilize it and want you to share your stories. And we've created some hashtags to do that so we can kind of share to everybody and let everybody know kind of what you're up to. So we've got Southern Miss Study Abroad and then Study Abroad with Seymour. And then we've got this cute little Seymour who'll be traveling with us. And we'll all take turns to take him around town and everything. And so we just really want to show school spirit while we're there, right? So that's kind of what this is all about. Also, I highly suggest that you either blog or you journal because it's going to go by really quickly. And you're going to come back and be like, whoa, what all did I do exactly? And then there'll be little details of things that you'll forget. I mean, I did. It just kind of works out that way. And so now we created this really nice new website that we'll be utilizing called Study Abroad Stories, and you guys will send us your blogs in. It could be a story from one day, from your whole adventure, or anything, and we'll just showcase it there. Also, communication with home, or just communication in general. We do have Wi-Fi in the dorms, and across the street there's a computer lab, so you have access to internet. We know you're going to want to communicate with home, but we suggest not to spend all your time connecting with home, because you need to be connecting with what's right in front of you. Of course, Skype is really great if you want to call your mom, be like, hey, I'm alive, okay, bye, kind of thing. So, that's some tips there. Cell phones. Now you're all probably wondering about this. You can go to your current carrier that you have here and talk to them and see if they have any international plans. If you want to do that, that's a great thing to do. There's also, when you get to London, you can get a pay-as-you-go phone, like a real old school pay-as-you-go for, carriers ever did. You know what I'm talking about? So you can do that as well, and that's really great to have communicating with your friends who are there with you, or classmates and that sort of thing. Also, there's an international SIM card you can get. There's a flyer in your packet that you grab with more details on that, and that's for unlocked phones, so be aware of that as well.
How many of you do not have a smartphone? Do not. Okay, we've shamed her, I think. That means you use your time wisely. Good for you. If you have a smartphone with wireless, you're going to have a really easy time in London. There's Wi-Fi throughout the entire dorm, and there's a lot of free Wi-Fi in London, so you may not even need a phone. Essentially, you can use Facebook Messenger and communicate with us in the program and with each other using that. It's pretty simple to do. A difference about the UK, it's really interesting. Cell phones are really cheap there, and plans are really cheap there. If you have an old iPhone or an unlocked phone, you can have your own UK number for next to nothing. It's just really, really cool. Yes?
What do you mean by unlocked phone? I'm not sure what that is.
When your phone is out of contract, let's say if you have an old AT&T phone, you have to call AT&T and say, let me put a different card in there that's not AT&T, okay? It's really cool to have your own London number. When I'm over there, I have an unlocked phone, and for maybe $25, I get internet for the entire month and 500 minutes of phone service or something. And it's just really, really handy to have. I highly recommend for $3, you can go to Skype and talk to any number in the US as much as you want to for $3. I mean, it's really, really cool. That way you don't have to Skype somebody. You can call any landline or mobile phone. It's really handy if you choose to do that. Typically, communication is not that much of a problem these days. Yes, sir?
If you get a card in London, is it going to work in Paris and then the other countries?
No, it'll only work in the UK. So your best bet really is a smartphone plan that has the Wi-Fi. That's a good question. Other questions about communication?
I did listen to you, I promise. But I just want to pay a little bit more attention. Can you talk about the whole unlock phone?
Sure. If you have an older smartphone that you're not using, you can call your carrier and say, unlock this phone. And that means you can take that phone to abroad and put a foreign SIM card in it. That will do data and everything. And it'll cost you $5 to get it started. It's really worth your while if you have that.
Calls to home or just calls internationally?
Calls internationally. So, but I'm really high on the Skype phone. Y'all use Skype. You can use Wi-Fi to call home on Skype to any number, landline or cell phone. Yes? It's easiest, or you can also use it on your computer. Other questions? Yes, sir?
One more question, I promise.
That's okay.
If I do the Skype $3 international thing, does the person here in the US get charged?
Nope.
Gotcha.
And Google Hangouts. Now you have to do anybody do Google Hangouts? Nobody does Google Hangouts. If you sign up for Google Voice before you go, you can call anywhere in America for free, and that costs nothing. But you can't get it once you're in the UK. You have to sign up for it here. So sign up for Google Voice. Have you ever noticed on Gmail there'll be a little thing where you can says you can make a call for free in the US? If you already have that on your Gmail, you're good to go. We'll post details on the Facebook page about all of this, so you can be able to follow those links.
All of y'all are part
if you choose
of
to.
the closed Facebook group? No? You'll want to find it. It's called London Calling BSP 2015. You have to ask to be approved to join, and then we'll accept you or whatever. And that's a really great spot to where we'll communicate beforehand, before we get there, and we can also use it to communicate while we're there too. It's just everybody will be on there, and we can chat with each other.
Say the name one more time.
London Calling, BSP 2015.
We'll send you guys the link. How would
So we
that
can
be?
send it out again.
Okay, and that's really handy because once you get there, even if you're not a real intense Facebook person, it's really handy. I mean, people will post, hey, we have extra tickets to go to the Globe Theater tonight. Come to the Courtyard if you want to leave at 7:30, that kind of thing. So it's a kind of a good way to stay in touch while we're there without going through email.
Yes. And then, okay, so now we've talked up how wonderful social media is, but we also just want you to be aware of some time that you need to unplug from social media. One, it can be quite a distraction. So you're walking, you're looking down at your phone, you've got your headbuds in, and you know the traffic is opposite, right? You don't want to walk out in front of the traffic and get smacked. That would be awful. So be sure you're paying attention and not distracted by your phone or whatever. Because around here, we're used to walking around. We know the area there. It's foreign. We don't know it. So just really make sure you're paying attention about things. Also, when you're going to go to all these really cool places like Parliament, you want to be like, oh, I want to take a selfie with Big Ben, you know, or something like that. That's fine. Do that. Have fun. But wait till later to post it. Wait till you get back to your dorm that night. You're going to have Wi-Fi then post it onto your Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. Don't take time away from you being in that moment of being at Parliament or whatever to worry about it. Also, another suggestion is just wait to post everything when you get back to the U.S. Because if you share everything now, everybody's going to be like, oh, I already know you did that. I saw it on Facebook. You know, so it will kind of cut out your communication to tell stories when you get home. So those are just some things to keep in mind. Really, you've worked really hard to go on British Studies. It took a lot for you to get here. So enjoy it. Connect with what is right in front of you. Don't be worried about sharing all of it with your friends at that moment. Wait and share it with them later.
We're getting very close to the end, but I want to reiterate one thing she said that is really important, and that is the biggest physical danger to Americans in London is traffic. The biggest physical danger to Americans in London is traffic. And we'll talk about this when we get there, but I'll go ahead and throw it out now. In the US, pedestrians always have the right of way. In the UK, pedestrians have the right of way in the crosswalk. Otherwise, you're on your own. So you want to get in the habit of looking both ways. And I get confused. I go back, was it right or is it left? So just look both ways and look for traffic. It's a real danger. It's never, nobody in our program has gotten hit that I know of. Someone in a competing program was killed in the dorm 10 years ago. True story. Pedestrians get killed all the time in London, and they're nearly always tourists. I'm not trying to scare you. It's just a legitimate thing. I want to come back with the same number of you in generally the same shape as when we took you over there.
And then we're about to close out here. Just be aware that there is re-entry shock. So, okay, culture shock is when you leave home and you go somewhere else. When you come back here, being gone 5 weeks or so, being in another place, you're going to have to readjust to your home surroundings. That may sound kind of crazy, but you really will. And sometimes it's a little worse than the culture shock of you leaving, because you're going to want to talk about all these wonderful things, and all your friends and family are going to be really interested, be like so excited for you. But come day 3, they're like, okay, I'm over it, you know, but you're still like, oh my God, it was still amazing, you know. And so just be aware there is some of that readjusting, and it's pretty much going through culture shock again, but we call it re-entry.
You'll see what we mean, round about August 1.
Yeah, you'll see it.
You'll see
And
exactly.
then some great ways to overcome that, and then some opportunities that you have when you come back here and to kind of keep connected with everything that you got to do internationally and stuff. We have all sorts of things for you. So a big one is IEW, which is International Education Week. You have a save the date in your packet for that. It's in November. And we do a lot of fun and cool things that allow you to participate. Photo contests. We'll have a favorite blog blurb. And we'll also have like spirit categories and that sort of thing. And it's just another way for you to get involved. Also, we have International Club. So it's international students as well as students who've studied abroad and anyone else who wants to join. So it's a great way to keep continuing talking about it, and everybody loves to hear about it instead of the friends and family that are sick of hearing of you. And then also you can help out with the ELI Conversation Partner. And this is where you're helping foreign students learn how to speak English. So that's something really cool that you might be interested in as well.
I'm going to ask our faculty to come up to see if they have some advice. Faculty types, could y'all come up for just a moment? Let me brag on the faculty. I think that the heart and soul of this program is the hard work put into each and every one of the courses that you all are going to take by the folks that will lead you to London. These folks, and we don't have all of them, but we have some of them, are the sort of experts in everything London. Once you get there, they're going to be the people with whom you spend the most time, and they're going to be the folks who are your best resource when you need things A, B, or C. Now, I have a rousing closing speech. It'll make you cry. It'll make you laugh. 2 thumbs up better than cats. But before we do that, I want to see if any of my faculty colleagues have a few words of advice they would like to give as folks get ready to think about going to London.
I do. Roll your clothes. Get ready to pack your suitcase. Roll them. You will get more in your suitcase, and it will be less regal when you get out. Okay?
I like the what you guys said about unplugging and enjoying where you are. That's really important. Also prepare to be completely changed. Students, you guys on day one, we first arrived in London, it's like, what are we doing? Wait, where are we going? Where are you going? Can I follow you? But by second week, you guys are like, are we done for the day? Yep, you're out there. So, you know, always be ready to explore and to meet people outside of your own program. I think that's pretty good. Everybody's doing something different, and it's good to kind of chat about what other people are doing. And you're going to think, oh, they're doing so much cooler things, but they're thinking the same about you.
Could y'all introduce yourselves?
Oh, sorry. Jamie Foster. I'm with the business group.
Maggie Williams. I'm with the MESCOM.
John Mark Lawler. I'm with the art and design.
And I'm Drew Young with the Global Music Industry Program. One thing that I want to recommend too is Time Out. Have you guys looked at the Time Out magazine? It's online. Time Out London, it has a list of all the shows, all the cultural activities. And it's a wonderful, wonderful source of information for that. There's a ton of free things to do in London too. So if you want to try to save some money, Time Out London will have a section there that talks about free things to do. You guys like theater? Yeah, I mean, the theater is unbelievable in London. And right at the end of our, basically on our street, there's a theater, and it's subsidized by Barclays. So the tickets are actually really affordable. It's just fantastic. So make sure you see some theater while you're there, and unplug and get to know each other. You guys are up for a wonderful, life-changing.
Okay. John Mark, you have anything you want to say?
I want to invite everybody. We're running the 5K while we're there. If there are any runners, I would love to have a competition.
Well, assuming I can finish it by the time we get back, maybe I'll do it. Okay. Thank you, faculty colleagues. I only have a couple of things I want to reiterate. Drew Young mentioned Time Out. They have a great Twitter feed. For those of you who are on Twitter, you can start looking on the cool things that are available there. Even if you're not a Facebook fiend, sign up for our Facebook post, our Facebook page, the closed Facebook group. We will be posting all kinds of ideas related to the stuff we've talked about now. We'll have links to Time Out and all kinds of other stuff. It really will help you if you start kind of thinking now about the kinds of things that you're going to want to do. When you're there in the smack middle of all that, the whole world is your oyster. You know, it's really easy to go to the left or to the right according to what is most shiny at the moment. But it's going to benefit you to have thought a little bit about this before you go.
Can I say one more thing?
Please do.
Spend some time looking at a London map before you go to kind of get a lay of the land. Also, you can look at the tube map online too and kind of get an idea of where things are organized. That's going to give you a lot more confidence and to explore the city, I think. So, and plus looking at maps are cool, I think.
That's true. I have socks on that are the London Tube map, so if there's anybody who wants to take a look, I can get you all the way to the north of London. In closing, I would tell you this. You're not going to have a good summer. You're going to have a great summer. You're going to have an absolutely great summer. Read your handbook. Be as best prepared as you possibly can for what is undoubtedly going to be the summer of a lifetime. Every year, students come back and say, this is the best thing I've ever done. And you will get more out of it if you read all the material that we're sending you and kind of prepare so that when you hit London, you hit it with the ground running. Thanks to all of you. We'll see you in London. Let's see, Hannah, what do you have for us?
That's
Okay, thank y'all. Let's hear it for us. Thanks, faculty types.
If some of us from the Divide agenda.
Yeah, let me, hold on one second.